Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Bloom, group publisher of Roofing Contractor, and welcome to our Best of Success podcast show. We are here on live on set at the Western States Advisory Council in Lake Tahoe, and it's always an honor to have Trent Cotney, partner.
It's great to be here.
Of Adams and Reese. Trent, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Can't beat this, right?
It is an absolutely glorious location that they picked for this advisory meeting.
Best, absolutely.
So, well, Trent, what's making your phone ring this week? What's everybody talking about?
So, going to association meetings and things like this, you really get the opportunity to kind of hear what's going on, right? And that's why I think it's real important. It keeps your finger on the pulse. And, the insurance and storm world, there's constant changes. Big law in Mississippi just came out that's going to affect, ability to get attorney's fees and other things like that. Every single state is got some kind of proposed change or something that's going on, and it's important that you kind of keep up with that. But more important, Jill, is that we're getting close to hurricane season. Right. And contractors out there, if you're doing, doesn't matter if you're in an affected area or if you're coming in to do work, there's a lot of things that you need to make sure that you've got ready. Right. So you need emergency repair contract, you need your blue roof tarp contracts, you've got to have your crews ready, your materials ready, your logistics ready. What happens, and what I see a lot, is you get these contractors that will mobilize, or they'll come into, New Orleans, or Texas, or Florida, or wherever, and they haven't figured out how the system works, right? And it's real important. You may be doing work in Oklahoma, but if you go to New Orleans, it's a completely different game.
Right.
And there's a lot of requirements. Florida, for example, licensure all over the place, right? You got to be a licensed contractor. You can't sub out to an unlicensed sub.
Yeah.
You got to be licensed. A lot of those rules and regulations you got to kind of figure out. So my advice to everybody watching is that if you are doing insurance or storm work, make sure that you're taking the time to go ahead and get prepared now before those big storms hit.
I know. This is like wobbling all over the place.
Yeah.
See you exactly. They'll keep it from. We like to wobble here as we're recording.
Yeah, we got gale force wind as we speak.
Coming out here, I feel like the reporter. Yeah. Hold on to something, the wind's coming. So, well, Trent, speaking of subs, there's a lot to talk about here with subcontractor rules and laws and regulations coming down the, happening. Any updates that people need to know?
Yeah, I would say, Jill, on average, I probably get 25 calls a week on the new misclassification rule, what contractors need to understand. And it's a very difficult position to be in. In the roofing world, you've got two primary 1099s. You've got 1099 salespeople or 1099 labor, subcontractor, sub-labor. And navigating that is an interesting issue, right? If someone were to come to me and say, legally, what's the safest thing for me to do? Well, my advice from a legal perspective is make everybody that ever works for you W-2. But from a business perspective,
that's hard.
That's very hard, right? So what you have to do is you have to think about how do you mitigate risk, right? What is a acceptable, tolerance of risk that you can live with? And part of that is making sure that you've got good standard operating procedures. That there's basic things like you don't pay people cash,
right?
You don't do that.
Oh, come on, really?
It's a lot better to pay a company than it is to pay.
No envelopes full of all the bills, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you don't deliver a briefcase full of bills. So there's basic things like that, but more importantly, just making sure that you got good tight subcontract, that you're operationally doing everything you can to check as many boxes as you can on that new rule, so that it gives you a better defense. There's nothing that I can do or anybody else can do that will make you bulletproof.
Yeah.
But the goal is just to be smart and make sure that you're at least thinking about it and what else can you do. As you get bigger, you got to focus more on how do you mitigate risk.
Sure.
So,
and as you've always said, whoever has the best paper trail, right?
There you go. Party with the best paper wins the day.
All right. So, and so also, last thing, what about the non-competes?
So FTC issued a rule saying non-competes are going to be banned. There's some exception if you're a high earning executive that's got decision making type authority or policy making capability. But the issue here is that it's already in the process of being legally challenged. I anticipate that you're going to see some potential arguments that it's unconstitutional because of how it was promulgated. It didn't come through Congress. It came as an executive agency action.
Yeah.
So
that's a problem.
We have to, we have to see what happens. It doesn't, even though it's been passed, it doesn't go into effect for a few more months.
Right.
But definitely anticipate there's going to be some legal challenge. So stay tuned to Roofing Contractor Magazine.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks always, Trent. If anybody has any questions, how do they get a hold of you?
Sure, hit me up on social at Trent Cotney, or you can email me, trent.cotney@arlaw.com.
Sounds great. And if anybody has any questions for us, it is roofingcontractor.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content. Especially follow us on all our social media channels so you can stay up to date on all the great content we're putting together, especially with Trent. Always good nuggets of legal information. But most importantly, stay safe and healthy and out of the wind. And we can't wait to talk to you soon. Thanks again, Trent.
Thank you.